What is up, y'all? We are here for our weekly anchor message where we get our spiritual assignments for the week ahead. I took a night off last night to go to my work party. We have our yearly holiday party, usually in January because we're really busy through the holidays. So that's always really, really fun. And yeah, so today was a little bit foggy. I was recovering, but I'm here and I've got our weekly energy oracle forecast finished as well, so you can go see that. All right. It was a really fun night. I loved my outfit. You can see it in yesterday's short. It was a big hit. This one of my big outfit moments of the year is that party, and so I always try to do something really fun or I don't know, go over the top a little bit, so it's always a good time. But yeah, we are getting right into the message. All right, no more distractions. Okay, so our first card out is from the Wild Unknown Archetypes, is the Desert, followed by the Mirror, followed by the Self. Underneath Desert, we have Four of Pentacles, underneath the Mirror, we've got Five of Pentacles. And underneath the Self, we have the Star card. All right, so it's hard not to look at this card and think of LA right now. You've got this desert landscape, this orange sky, and this crescent moon. It almost looks like fire around it and a hand reaching up. We're in our full moon in Cancer today, and I think the fires have been going on for about a week now. I can't remember what day. I think maybe they started last Monday, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Tuesday, but I feel like the initial warnings and reports started going out maybe last Monday. And so we've been here, watching this play out for a week, and just the literal conversation about how dry the conditions are that made for such the perfect storm of events, with this windstorm that moved in and exacerbated anything that was, on fire. It just blew the whole thing up. And then there was the extra dryness and the extra brush everywhere. So it was just the perfect storm for this kind of a disaster to happen in this season. So people are just desperate right now, and they need help, and people are showing up for one another, and the communities are really coming together, and people are finding ways to take care of one another and to nurture one another and to take on that archetypal role of the mother, to make sure everyone's taken care of, making sure everyone's fed and protected and has a roof over their head right now. We've got to give each other a helping hand, and if you have resources or if you know something, you can let people know and share that information. But people are having to establish their entire sense of security and stability. Some people have lost everything. Some people are still okay and they're still in a safe area, which is good, but they're still in a city that has become completely turned inside out. And so they're experiencing a lot of disruption and a lot of instability in that as well. Everybody has been affected by this. So this is a moment where we're being asked to all look at this situation as if we were the ones in it, and do that soul searching the way that these situations allow us to do, and they allow us to search ourselves. But it's like we're in this season of wilderness. Even before the fires, we were leaving one timeline and going into the next one, starting life anew and beginning to write a story and looking at a lot of blank pages. We many people have uprooted and leveled their lives and have been rebuilding and starting over for the last couple of years, and so maybe even the last several years. And so it's like we're looking at this like looming blank slate in front of us, and we feel like we're in the midst of such uncertainty. But it's like one of those times where we're supposed to be in the uncertainty. We're supposed to be in the unknown. We're supposed to be in that wilderness right now without any answers, because that's where we find the true certainty. The certainty that transcends having any answers or having any real direction or having any real clear vision about what's next, and having to surrender to that unknown and trust that you're going to be carried there. And as long as you show up and you open your heart and you make the effort and you listen and you follow that divine guidance that you're being given. So whilst we're in this wilderness season, we don't know what the next thing is. We haven't started the new chapter yet. And so we're having to navigate being neither here nor there. And we feel uprooted and we don't feel settled. We're craving security. And whilst this full moon in Cancer is showing us everything that's insecure, everything that's not stable, everything that's threatening the home and the household and the family and the community, right? Any ways that we're in like this state of danger or liability or fragility, we're seeing the infrastructures exposed. We're seeing corruption exposed. We're seeing toxicity and corporate thievery exposed, so we're seeing so much darkness in this, but it's a purging of what has been these toxic underlying threats. And so right now we're being asked to let go of control and trust through this situation, but it's hard to, because we want to hold on to what we think we know is so solid, and this whole situation just reminds us that between like last year when Gaza broke out, and then, these hurricanes through the year, and these fires and the tornadoes and the floods, it's just like everything feels fine and secure and solid, but in an instant, everything could change, and so many people are being asked to let go of their illusion of control right now. And it's very hard to let that go. Whilst at the same time, many people are having to try to rebuild their stability and security all over again. They've had to let go of their homes and the lives that they knew, and the communities that they knew, and the lifestyles that they had, and the literally having like to let go of the home that they might have grown up in all their life and knew, or worked so hard to be able to finally have that dream. People have had generational houses that they've been handed down, and that was their family's, all of their family's worth and value, as far as like not their worth and value, but their wealth was tied up in that inherited property in some of these working class communities. So it's not like everybody in the situation was in the same kind of situation, so it's really devastating to everyone on a mass scale. So it's a complete disaster. But aside from literally the people in the fires right now, we are being asked to, as a collective, to let go and surrender and trust anything that we are hanging on to too tightly, you know, anything that we have too tight of an attachment to. It's like we're being asked to let go of this illusion of control, because we never really have control of anything except for our consciousness and our actions and the way that we respond to any given moment. So letting go of control whilst looking at anything that is threatening the long-term stability and security of your house and home, whilst using this moment as a way to bring your close-knit groups, your inner circle, your communities, your families, your friends, all of this closer together. You have a deeper sense of appreciation, and we're learning again how to go and be more like communal and tribal and take care of one another and make sure that no one is being left out right in the cold. So again, it's like, you know, so many people have just lost their home. They feel exposed and, you know, out with nowhere to go. And it's a very, it's a time of feeling very spiritually impoverished, this isolation, this exile, this feeling of like, you know, no security, no safety. And so it's really highlighting our fears and our feelings of scarcity. And we're having to navigate finding that sense of security and stillness and strength underneath all of the apparent circumstances. And that's why we're like, oh, okay, wow, this daily practice of connecting with God and with the Holy Spirit, with Source, you know, and tuning in prayer and meditation and doing it consistently. It's like, that's why we do it, so that when times like these come up, it's like you have something to keep you going through the situation, to keep pulling you through the situation, to keep giving you shelter through this uncertainty. And so this mirror here, it's like we're being shown all these things that maybe were distorted, right? We're like a mirror can show you and project something, and it can be accurate or it can be a little off, you know. It's not the true image, it's the reflection of the image. And so there's the moon here, the full moon here. It's like it's showing us a reflection of ourself and our society, you know, where we're at in these desperate times. I mean, like, we're in climate crisis, we're in social crisis, we're in economic crisis. And so it's all here to reflect the internal crisis going on in the collective soul of humanity. You know, we've lost our connection to what's really important and what's really meaningful and what really has value. So, you know, it's showing us our collective materialistic struggles for like power and possessions and consumerism. And it's showing how that doesn't provide us anything in the end. It's so fleeting. It can go at any moment, but what can't be taken away from you is that relationship to God, is that the development of your consciousness and your soul and your strength. So I don't know, we're just being asked to go deep and to reflect and look inward right now. And it's showing us like our own fears and our own insecurities and making us look deeper at our own lives. Okay, what changes do I need to make to really build and make an effort towards establishing long-term value, long-term security, more intimate relationships with the people around me, more caring, nurturing relationships with the people around me. And then this all, even though it's very uncomfortable, it is going to spark this awakening of self, because as we go through these this pain and this suffering, it cracks open these shells of our ego that had built up over our inner true self, our most authentic self. And so it was like a veil over that inner light of the creator is expressed through our inner spirit. And so the more that we break away these shells of ego, this egoic nature to want to, protect the self first, serve the self, think about the self alone, this animalistic instinct. It's like we're breaking through that and we're letting the true human spirit shine forth, the spirit that God had intended for us. And that is in all of these acts of courage and generosity and love that are being spread through the city of LA and through the world right now. When we look at times in the past, and even in sort of these dystopian futuristic movies or movies that portray, disaster situations, it often leads to the inevitable aftermath of riots and people, pitting against one another and dog eat dog and fighting it out. And even just looking at old footage of Black Friday, just people, going to any means to get a good deal on, a thing that they'll fight somebody over it. And that's we've come so far. We see people coming together and not trying to take this moment to take advantage of one another, but they're going out of their way trying to make sure that each other's house doesn't burn down, and nobody has to do that. And so it's very heartening when you see what is happening. It is a terribly, the catastrophe involved in the catalytic moment is so painful. But it is in that pain and in that darkness that this healing and this transformation and this elevation of humanity is happening. So the Star card is here with the self. And the Star card is about that deep soul healing and healing on a spiritual level and healing on, the collective soul, the collective psyche is healing together in these it's like in our individual experiences and in our own individual pain and in our own individual painful experiences, it's like we have our own kind of growth and our own psyche that is transformed. But on these wide scale disasters, it shifts humanity on a wide scale that it wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen the same on it when people are going through their own individual struggles. But it's when we have something like this that happens on such a large scale that we have no choice but to share it, to share the pain, to share the healing, to share, all of it. And, we can't isolate in those instances, whereas many times when we're going through it alone, it can be very isolating and we don't necessarily share, our struggle or our healing. So there is great healing happening and great hope that is on the other side of this. Relief is coming, healing is coming, stability will come eventually. But it is a long road to recovery. And so I think a lot of people are going to be asking themselves, am I going to stay here and rebuild, or am I going to, move into a new chapter and go elsewhere? So there's a lot of decisions being made right now about people tuning into that, their true self coming through, and thinking and reevaluating what it is that they want now, right? Because they have, whether or not they wanted it, a reset, and they can go back and do it again, or they can do something different now. But it's a crazy moment to be in that kind of crossroads in your life. So, and we have people doing it on a mass scale right now. So we were already on it, and now it's just it magnified that much more. So we'll see how this continues to unfold. But these things are never easy and they never happen quickly. So prepare your emotional and mental state for endurance. Endurance and making decisive choices without laboring over them with your with worry and fretting. You know, this is why it's good to be able to tune into that inner gut that's leading you. And it could, because everything can become overwhelming, and we can lose the willpower to have that brain chemistry that is required to make judgment calls and indecision. You know, when we have been in a state of trauma and we're in post-traumatic stress, we can freeze. And that can look like not knowing how to move forward, being so overwhelmed by the tasks that we keep kind of like circling around but not getting anywhere. You know, so we need to be aware of the fact that so many people right now will be having this post-traumatic stress playing out in their nervous system in maybe really low key, subtle ways, and that might come out in like freezing and fawning and hypervigilance and things like that. So try to take care of your nervous system the best you can. You know, we're thinking about mind, body, spirit here. So try to take care of your mind and your mental state. Try to take care of your nervous system. You know, try to take care of your physical body and your physical needs and the needs of your household. Take care of your soul and your spirit, and take care of your heart right now. And I hope that everyone gets through whatever they're going through, and I hope that everyone can pray for one another, and I hope that these events bring humanity closer together and into stronger unity. Ooh, somebody just arrived next door and they're all excited and surprised. All right, y'all, Godspeed.